My perception changed, and I wasn't prepared for how alien normal life would feel. At the time, I didn't know what to call it. I just knew that the way I had been living my life no longer worked, and that something had quite unexpectedly and quietly shifted. For a long time, I thought what I was experiencing was burnout, and maybe part of it probably was. But burnout doesn't really explain some of what happened because I wasn't just exhausted. For me, it was like something stopped making sense. So here's the story. I was in my marketing career, and one day, very suddenly, or it felt sudden, but it just didn't compute anymore. The same conversations, the same meetings, the same decisions that felt important to me before, they became irrelevant. I remember sitting there and listening to people argue about which project management tool to use and thinking, why does this matter? And I know that I wasn't rebelling or being cynical. It just felt like such a surreal moment of clarity, and it kind of destabilized me. What was really unsettling about it wasn't the work that I was doing. It was what I started seeing underneath the work and the environment I was in. The masks started falling, one after the other. People came on calls, and I could see the fear beneath the performance, the grasping, the need to control tiny outcomes to feel safe, the attachment to titles, to relevance, to being right. And I didn't feel good witnessing this because I could feel how everything I was surrounded by was running on survival energy. People were clambering, trying to hold on, these conditions, trying to make meaning out of things that suddenly felt minuscule to me. And the strangest part was that all of this happened right when I had achieved what I had been working toward. I was sitting there in the role that I wanted, and it felt completely flat. The idea that it was important completely and totally collapsed for me. It felt empty, soulless. It's not like it was disappointing, but it was flavorless. I just didn't want to be there anymore. What was unnerving was the exact opposite, the certainty around me. Everyone was convinced that corporate success is what life is about, that what they were doing was worth fighting for, it was worth losing friends over. People felt superior and accomplished in the positions they were holding. And I remember thinking, no, this can't be it. I didn't know what to call all of that back then. I didn't have language for it at the time, but I had actually entered a liminal phase. And that's the space between who you were and who you're not yet, as in who you're becoming. So, this phase may stem from burnout, but it isn't burnout. It's also not depression, though it can feel heavy at times. In this stage, you process the grief of what you're losing, your old values and belief system, your old identities. And at the same time, your body is also processing all of this. Your old belief system also has an impact on your body. Your tiredness and exhaustion, your disconnection from your physical self, the hustle, it also leaves marks on your body. And I was in this phase for around a little over a year. I felt tiredness that went beyond my body. It was as if my soul felt depleted and stuck. So the liminal phase is where beliefs dissolve before new meaning forms. The beliefs that collapsed for me were things like hustling, working hard as a virtue, as a value, professional identity, titles as self-worth, and productivity as purpose. And these values, they didn't get replaced immediately. They just started falling off, like one by one. And each time there was a collapse of meaning in something I used to like and work towards, I felt disoriented, not knowing what to fill all this space with. The first thing I had to do was to start accepting the space in my life, the empty space. I had to sit with not knowing and doing anything because I didn't know what to do anymore. And without these structures, everyday life can start to feel very strange and unreal. There's this idea, and that's something I also believed in, that you won't get caught up in roles, that you're just doing your job. And that's what I thought too. I thought I was really good at it too. And then at one point, you realize that you're inside a kind of gladiator arena. Everyone's circling, competing, performing, climbing over each other. Sometimes it's subtle and sometimes not. Everyone's trying to get somewhere. That's how it feels like. But when you step out of the identification with the role, you start asking a question that ignites something. And I asked myself this question too. I was like, where are we all going? Where is everyone actually going? And the answer is that nowhere. They're not going anywhere. We are not going anywhere. We're going nowhere. People are just circling the arena. And this realization alone is enough to dismantle your identity. Another thing that really surprised me during this phase was how physical it was. There were definitely a lot of physical signs, aspects of burnout, my body feeling numb and tired. Crowds started feeling loud and kind of surreal. Stores I used to go to every day started feeling hollow. All the noise, the clutter, the stimulation, all of it registered as distracting. And I noticed how much energy it actually takes just to keep modern life moving. I remember walking into a large, like, local store, one of those chains that um, sell everything. And it was Christmas season, so there are shelves and shelves of things like plastic stars and these cheap decorations, these poorly made nutcracker dolls, and endless rows of objects that seem to just appear overnight every year. I wasn't angry. I wasn't judging if someone wants to buy it. I just felt disoriented. I didn't know where I fit into all of this. And so this is where a lot of people get confused, because I'm not talking about rejecting modern life or looking down on buying the things we like. I'm talking about a kind of awareness rising, where awareness rises enough for us to realize where in life we are numbing ourselves. And when the ego disintegrates, the mechanisms that once distracted, soothed, or numbed us out stop working. And suddenly, environments built on constant stimulation feel loud and empty and artificial. The liminal phase can feel isolating. You might feel like you don't belong to normal life anymore. It's like you've stepped outside of something and don't know how to step back in. But this isn't the end state, it's a threshold. Meaning eventually returns, but it's quieter, it's more selective. Your life is less performative. You don't lose the ability to enjoy beauty or material things. You lose the ability and the desire to use them to avoid yourself. And that's a profound shift. If you're in this space right now where life looks the same but feels unreal, There's nothing wrong with you. You're not regressing. You're just stepping out of old identities. You're in the liminal space, and your real life, your true calling, is just waiting to unfold. And the liminal phase is uncomfortable, but it's also brutally honest. It's asking us to reflect on what we've been doing. And that's why it feels jarring at first. But this moment asks you to see clearly and honestly. And I am pretty sure that this sight is a gift, and your new life is just waiting to unfold. You just have to be patient.